Well, hello, hello, hello. I
Okay.
would say Happy Hanukkah, Merry
Eu
Christmas.
escolho.
I think that more than anything, what's challenging is to keep your balance. It's a little like if you've ever watched these wonderful surfers, they're able to hold their balance no matter what the waves are doing until a big wave comes and down they go. So if a big wave has taken you down, it's time to come up for a breath. And so what do I mean by that? I think the thing that is most required is an open heart and the eyes, I'm going to say, of the Dalai Lama. So today I'm going to just, like a little fairy godmother, hit each of you on your crown chakra and for just a moment suggest that you channel the Dalai Lama. Some of you are like, oh, I don't know about that. But think about it for just a moment. What is the demeanor that he carries? What is the energy that he emanates? How can this beautiful man who's been in exile for most of his adult life still be so positive? What is it that he's doing? And what I want to say is what he's doing is he is not reacting to what he sees out there. First and foremost, he is creating and establishing a column of light within himself. So through meditation, prayer, etc., he organizes his being to emanate kindness. And then if he sees something out of balance, or he sees someone who's ill, or he sees all of these crazy things that are going on, rather than reacting, he has a whole bundle of joy and well-being and love that he can emanate into the situation. And so I think the thing I would ask of each of you is to channel the Dalai Lama. So when you're out Christmas shopping and people are pushing and shoving and trying to get the most sale items and loading up their cart and making crazy sounds because they're, whatever, take a moment, take a breath, and just realize I don't have to be frantic. I don't have to be upset. I don't have to be in a rush. I don't have to be. I can be like the Dalai Lama, a place of powerful, peaceful beauty. That's what I can be. And so I think that the challenge, of course, is there are people that are upsetting to everyone, but if you want to be the light workers that I think all of you want to be, those of you that listen to me, that's something that's is of interest to you. It's really about taking that breath and inviting the joy of you, the goodness of you, the love of you, the happiness of you, to be the Dalai Lama, to be Santa Claus, to be the one whose presence uplifts and even allows for a calming influence to be set out into the world. The other thing I want to share with you that perhaps you have read or perhaps you haven't yet read, there are new codes, C-O-D-E-S, codes. For a long time, many of your scientists have been looking into DNA, and they're trying to figure out, what is DNA, Ancestry.com, all of these ideas are to try to figure out who's who and how you are related and what's happening, and perhaps even in the future, how to get illness be something of the past. But what they're not yet recognizing, and some of you are skilled in this and knowledgeable about it, and some of you perhaps are curious or it's new to you, is that there are new light codes that all of you have carried forth like you have in your DNA. And they are now being activated, especially today, 12/12 of 2018, 12/21 of 2018, 12/31 of 2018, and 1/1 of 2019, and on and on. So what does that mean? It's a sort of wake-up call would be one way to look at it, that you haven't always needed these star codes, these new light codes, to walk in the world in a way that is fulfilling the promise that you came to fulfill. Because you've been teachers and mothers and aunts and, you know, all the different things that you've been. But the reality is your column of light, your DNA, your light codes are so special and required right now that the gift from the universe to each of you, if you want, is to activate and allow these light codes to become even more of your persona, even more of how you walk in the world. The reason I mentioned the Dalai Lama, he actually works with the codes and has for many, many years. And part of the reason he was expelled from Tibet is that the government of China knew that there were very, very specific gifts that the Tibetan people hold and still do. And they knew that if they allowed that, they would never be able to have the communist regime the way that they have it now. So the Dalai Lama, as you know, has been gone, but he has continued to work the codes. He has continued to work with other leaders and other organizations, but most of all, he continues to work with those who are ready to wake up and be, I want to say, the heart of compassion, the soul of compassion, the light of compassion in the world, which is, of course, what he's doing. So then you're going to ask me, well, what do I have to do to wake up my light codes, right? What do I have to do to wake up my light codes? And what I'll say is that you don't necessarily have to do anything except say, I'm ready and willing to open my light codes. And then, as with all things, you always say, for my highest good, with ease and grace, period. Many people enjoy having a ceremony. I know all you Reiki people down at Lois's, you know, you enjoy various ceremonial things. And having one is lovely, but it's not necessary. Because when you have one, what you're basically saying is, I am ready. I'm wanting this to occur. And therefore you go forth and do what you do. And I think what you'll find is that there will be a brightening of your heart. There will be a lightening of your spirit. And there will also be a sense that of direction. And what I mean by that is, for many of you, you already do this. You're in the supermarket and you see someone who's sad and you smile at them or say something kind or whatever you would like to do. But what will happen even more now is that you'll be amped up in the sense that you may say, I don't know why, but I need to call so-and-so. And then come to find out they were having a difficult day and really appreciated whatever you shared with them. You may find also that as a light keeper, you are guided to go somewhere in the world, you know, to do a blessing, to do a prayer, to do a kindness. And again, it's always up to you to decide, yes, I will, or, you know, no, I don't choose to do that. But there's these directions. If you think about, again, codes and DNA being somewhat connected, how does someone become a Michelangelo? How does someone become a Mozart? How does someone, you know, become Ishtar Perlman? You know, what happens to be a genius in that way? They had and have specific codes that woke them up, and then they were not dissuaded by whatever obstacles were put in their way. So if you've ever seen Ishtar Perlman in concert, what a beautiful, beautiful man and musician. He walks with braces because he had polio. But when he sits down to play, all that goes away. And all you hear is the music of God playing through him. And so all of you are designed to play the music of God that you're designed to play. Some of you will sing, some of you will dance, some of you will give Reiki, some of you will create beautiful art, some of you will teach, some of you will simply be and let that music of your heart be a blessing wherever you go. So these codes are our gift to you. And I think you will find them to be exceptional. And all of you are already exceptional. You are. But this will allow it to be easier to be you. Easier to be kind, easier to be loving, easier to walk wherever you're guided to walk and share whatever you're guided to share. Because the world right now is in this process of dissolution, dissolving of what had been a structure that was really not designed to fulfill your destiny. All of you know that. All of you feel that discord and the disparity that we talked about last time between how you envision this world to be, how you would love it to be, and how much of it still is difficult or chaotic. And so again, this time of December, this quiet time, the last few weeks of December and into January, is all about recognizing and reconciling yourself to the fact, and I say it clearly, to the fact that you came to share your light. Period. You came to share your light. And your light is growing and getting brighter as you say yes to that. And don't be dissuaded by someone else who, says whatever. The other night, Samara and her sister were having a beautiful dinner, and there were two musicians playing Hawaiian music. And Samara stood up right by her table and started to do the hula. And her sister just smiled, Why? Why did she do that? There wasn't a dance floor or something. It was just what she felt. But when she sat down and looked behind, everyone was smiling. It's like, I want you all to do your hula, whatever that looks like. In other words, allow that expression of your love and your passion and your light to make other people smile. I mean, what's the harm in that? What this begins to do is it does create sort of a cascading effect, like the little stone that you throw into the pond. And so if you've been smiling, chances are you'll find another who will start to smile. If you've been kind, chances are it will carry on. So the best advice that I can give you is to channel the Dalai Lama, who laughs all the time, who loves his life, who is a fountain of joy to all around him, who doesn't focus on what he's lost, who doesn't focus on what he wishes life would be. He lives his best life now with what is. And so that's really my advice for all of you, is to channel the Dalai Lama and to allow these light codes to brighten your life. A few years ago, when Samara began to teach the White Star Reiki, she questioned not only me, but she questioned Dr. Usui, like, why do we need another Reiki? The Usui Reiki that she had studied, and many of you have, for many, many years, is beautiful. Well, it has to do with these codes. It has to do with the fact that within you, there are so many sparkles of light yet to be activated. And all the energy modalities that allow that to occur lead to greater and greater opportunities and greater light. And so I don't care how old any of you are. That doesn't matter. there's always room to be brighter. There's room to grow into the love and the passion and the light and the joy that all of you are capable of feeling and sharing. And so that's my Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa wish for all of you, is that you settle into yourselves as beautiful, radiant, light-filled, glorious sparkles of light in the crown of God. And that whatever's going on out there, be the one that brings love to it, rather than reacting with fear or anger or upset. And when you do that, you more and more are living a kind of fulfillment that allows you to be happy and be at peace and have more joy and be happy in your life. So there's one more thing I wanted to say, and then I'll be happy to take any questions. The concept of justice is another important recognition to begin to gather into yourself. Because if there is not justice in the world, you will never have peace. You cannot suppress thousands and millions of people and expect them to stay under the thumb of someone. You cannot. That is not just. You cannot have a society in which there are large groups of people who never have the proper education or the proper opportunities and expect that they will not do negative things. You know, it's like begin to understand that in order to have balance and harmony and opportunity for all, the system of justice, the system of economics, the system of material life has to shift, has to. You cannot build a wall to keep out people that are starving, that have been subjected to horrors that I hope none of you ever have to experience. There's no wall high enough. So it's about recasting the kind of society that has justice, the kind of society that has opportunity, the kind of society that has fairness. And in our short time today, I don't have all the answers to that. But as you're being the Dalai Lama, as you're being the light-filled beings that you are, notice where there is injustice, notice where there is disparity, and do whatever your heart and your mind guides you. Samara told a little story, her sister told Samara a little story while they were together. They were somewhere in New York in this store called American Girl, which has got all different dolls and stuff, and they were having lunch. And the waitress came around and was asking each table, what are you celebrating? Oh, a birthday, an anniversary, this and that. And right behind Samara's sister was a little girl and her mother. And the little girl quite obviously had lost all her hair. And the mother said, we're here to celebrate that my daughter's in remission. And at that moment, my sister, who was sitting, Samara's sister, who was sitting with her granddaughter and daughter, well and healthy and happy, her heart just about, fell to the bottom to realize we're celebrating just being together, and here's this little girl and her mother. So she immediately got up and went and told the waitress, I'm buying their lunch. And then she ran to the cashier and got a gift certificate for the little girl. And she came back to the mother and she said, I want you to have this as my gift. I'm sorry for what you had to go through. And this is something very small that I can do. And of course, the little girl was ecstatic. She could go get another outfit for her doll. And her doll, by the way, had no hair because they have all sorts of different dolls. But in that moment, it's like Samara's sister was channeling the Dalai Lama, right? She was in that moment touched by that one situation and did what she felt she needed to do. So there's all different options that you have. And although one might not think that had to do with justice, in another way it did, because no child, no mother should ever have to go through what they did. And so my sister was trying, Samara's sister was trying to give back to create a little more balance. So that's that. So be the Dalai Lama and begin to balance the scales of justice and watch what the new year brings. Because the new year will bring more of this and more of this and more of this craziness, because so many people don't take the time to go inside, fill your heart, fill your mind, and be a light. But you all can do it. I know you can.